Good afternoon and welcome to today's presentation, Dating Violence, What Educators Need to Know. My name is Jennifer Scherzay. I'm a Senior Marketing Manager here at Cognito, and today I'm joined by two esteemed presenters. So let's go ahead and meet them. Julie Allison is a university professor in the Department of Psychology and Counseling at Pittsburg State University, where for over 30 years she's been involved in research, theory, and advocacy on the issues of power-based violence. And she's also co-authored two books, Rape, the Misunderstood Crime, and Men's Violence Against Women, Theory, Research, and Activism. Dr. Allison has served as Director of the Office of Violence Response and Prevention at her current university, and in 2009, she was named the recipient of the Community Champion Award by the Attorney General's Office in the state of Kansas. Welcome, Julie. Nadia Stamp, who is a colleague of mine here at Cognito, is the product manager for our PK through 12 product line. Blending her passions for mental health, well-being, and education, Nadia leads the design, the development, and the delivery of dynamic online training solutions for both educators and students. She has spent much of her career in education leading student affairs teams at top 50 MBA programs and in product development, driving the creation of innovative solutions, assessments, and mental health focused products for PK through 12, higher education, as well as career readiness markets. Nice to meet you both. I'm going to turn the presentation over to Julie.
First of all, thank you for having me and allowing me to work on this project with the folks from Cognito. It's an amazing project and product, and I think it's going to make a difference in the lives of many. So I would like to challenge you. I understand we have teachers at many different levels to consider this an opportunity for you. With regard to teen dating violence, 1 out of 12 is impacted by it. Can you identify them? If you have 24 students in one class, 2 of them are likely to be involved in an abusive relationship. And that's just one classroom. I'm guessing you have 6, maybe 7 classes a day, if you're middle or high school level. So if you pay attention and know the red flags, you can make quite a difference in the lives of people. I also want to say that while females are more likely to be targets and males are more likely to be perpetrators, this is not always the case. Domestic violence, dating violence is notoriously demographic, and by that I mean it crosses all boundaries, gender, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status. Anyone can be targeted by a perpetrator. Having also said that, most men are not perpetrators, and the magic number seems to be about 91%. I don't know why it's always 91%, which means 91% of men and boys do not commit violence, are not abusive, they are respectful. It's those 9% that do it over and over and over again. And you can't tell the difference between the 91% and the 9%. And finally, many of the examples that I'm going to be using are more of adults. That's what I've worked with. But the dynamics are very similar, whether it's LGBTQ+ or teen dating violence. The major difference I've seen with teen dating violence is the perpetrators are not as experienced, which means we can stop it if we identify it and hold the person accountable. We can stop the victim from being abused and help her to become a survivor and a thriver. Next slide, please. Talk a little bit about what dating violence is. It's different for every relationship, if you will, but it's destructive behaviors by one person with the intention of gaining power and control over their partner. And we have this belief in our society that it takes 2 in a relationship, and that, of course, is true, but it only takes 1 to be violent. And we have to remember that as well, because the perpetrator is going to be really good at trying to justify their behavior and may not be aware of their intention to gain power and control. Because if you talk to someone who is abusive and you say, you have all the power in the relationship, they'll look at you with their eyes glazed over. They don't feel it, at least some of them. And their behavior is intended to get a feeling of power that they don't think they have and they believe they should have. Next slide, please. Not all abusive relationships will include physical violence, but eventually it is likely to occur. And sometimes this has been referred to as explosions, where there's tension building and it explodes. And then we've got very contrite behavior on the part of the perpetrator. But that physical violence, if it does exist, is supported by a whole system of other types of behaviors, all geared toward obtaining power and control. And it's those other behaviors, just disrespect, disrespectful jokes, or calling someone a derogatory name instead of what their name really is, can be those public red flags that you can look for. Next slide, please. Got some more statistics for you. In 1 year, almost 1.5 American teenagers suffer from physical abuse at the hands of their partner. That is a lot of teenagers. 1/3 of teenagers acknowledge they have been abused by someone they dated. Again, a lot. And half of teenagers who experience rape or sexual physical assault will try to commit suicide. And that's on the rise for more than one reason. We have to be very careful about this. Next slide, please. These are some of the behaviors that kind of serve as a foundation for what could become physical violence. Using intimidation. I was working with a high school boy who was at a party. It was a school party, and he took his partner, and they were having a good time, but she was over talking to some friends. And he said, I just looked at her. I could look at her and she would come and stand by me. Who would know that a look could be intimidating except for her? Emotional abuse. This could be name calling, being derogatory. I remember another college student was being accused of being insecure because he was very jealous, which is also a red flag. And he said, why would I be insecure? You're only average. And that takes its toll emotionally. Isolation is one of the first behaviors you're going to see in an abusive relationship. And trying to separate the victim or the survivor from their friends, their family. So it's us against them. There's a lot of teaming going on. And if they lose the support of their family and friends, all they've got is the perpetrator in the relationship. Lots of minimizing, denying, and well, if you hadn't have done this, I wouldn't have done that. Well, why'd you do this? And that's also intended to justify their behavior. Economic abuse. The best example I can share with you regarding that is a tendency for the person, like if the victim works, the perpetrator will go to the work and just sit there, like if it's at a restaurant or a store, just sit there and watch them. And oftentimes they will lose their job because of it. And that could be the intention. Certainly using coercion and threats, although this isn't as common among dating partners as it is more experienced relationships. Another one that's not on here is cell phone destruction. It could be under any of these, but that's one of the tendencies, is to throw the phone across the room so it breaks. They can't use it. They're isolated from family and friends again. Next slide, please. These are warning signs of an abusive personality. A push for quick involvement. I once had a student, it was probably 3 decades ago, who came into my office about a week into class and said, I want to drop all my Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes and have only Tuesday, Thursday classes. That's really tough to do. And I said, you know, if you do that, you're going to be in class from 8 in the morning to 10 at night, if we can figure out a schedule. He said, that's okay. I said, what's going on? And he said, I got a girlfriend last night. And I said, does she know this, that you're doing this? He says, no, it's a surprise. And he went to her and he said, we get to now spend Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday together because I changed my schedule. There's this belief that time and attention equals love. And it's time spent with the relationship and attention on the perpetrator, not the target of the abuse. Jealousy, this is a huge one. Just watching, going through their phone, and there's nothing good about jealousy. Oftentimes we contextualize it as flattering or something. He's just jealous of you, as if that's not a bad thing, or he just likes you a lot. That's toxic. There's nothing good about jealousy. It's all based on insecurity. Controlling is just one thread throughout the entire relationship. Unrealistic expectations goes along with that. Time and attention equals love. So if you're not spending time with me, you must not love me enough. You have to show that you love me. Now, blaming others for problems and mistakes, in addition to the person they're abusing, that generalizes to many different situations. It is very difficult for individuals who are abusive to acknowledge that they have any flaws, because their expectation is that as a person in power, they should have the power. They should not make mistakes. They make others responsible for their emotions. You made me mad. We don't say you made me happy. We say you made me mad. Pretty rigid sex roles, and in the traditional sense, this is the job of one person, the woman. This is the job of the man. If it's an LGBTQ plus relationship, that may get the dynamics may be a little different, but there are still power and control issues. Sudden mood swings. I once had, I worked with those who use violence in a relationship for about 5 years, and one of the people I worked with would say, the best part of my day was after work, and I'm on my way home, and I step on that doormat. And that was the moment I would decide if we would have a good night or a bad night. And it was his decision. And he enjoyed making that decision. A little bit sadistic there. But all the while, his partner is thinking, you know, if she just keeps the kids quiet and has dinner ready on time and doesn't burn it, you know, some of those traditional sex roles come into play here, then everything will be good. When that wasn't the case at all. She had nothing to do with whether they had a good night or a bad night. And of course, threats of violence. This is what I could do to you. Hitting a wall, putting a hole in a wall. That's very threatening and intimidating. You may see some of these, you may not. But if you look, pay attention, again, you can make a difference in the lives of your students. Next slide, please. These are some motives for violence identified by Steve Halley and Dorothy Stuckey Halley, who are great friends and colleagues of mine. They identified 3 motives: entitlement-based. Entitlement-based perpetrators really feel like they should have the privilege. Oftentimes they are men, and if someone tries to take away their privilege, it's on. That they deserve to be better than their partner. They are better than their partner. They deserve to be treated better. Everything is about them. Interestingly enough, what you find in many of the entitlement-based perpetrators is they can express anger, but if you take their blood pressure, it's actually going down. Their heart rate is going down, so they can be more effective in what they're doing. And these perpetrators also really like high status groups. Not trying to pick on any particular group, but football players, fraternity members. Again, most are not at all abusive, but they tend to be attracted to those types of groups. Next slide, please. The survival-based, these are the ones that if you tell them you have all the power in the relationship, you have the control, they're going to look at you with eyes glazed, because they don't feel it, and they think they have to have their partner in order to survive. So these are the ones who are going to text every 30 seconds, go to the work, trying to control what they can't control, which ultimately makes them feel less powerful, and they don't respond to that with normal emotions, and that's not the right word, but if they feel bad, it's intense, it's terror, it's rage, and this can get really bad with regard to the physical explosions. Sadistic based, this is not common, but again, you can't put any one perpetrator into just one category. It's which is the largest motive, which is the primary motive. So you can have combinations of entitlement-based, survival-based, and sadistic-based. But the sadistic enjoy causing pain. And so they're the ones that you're going to hear about when it happens. Next slide, please. Okay, so these are some of the warning signs that you can look for in those who are being targeted by the perpetrator. And I think if you look at this list, these are typical, there's a problem kind of behaviors. And one of the things that I want to focus on is that idolizing their partner, because abusive relationships at the beginning are really, really good, generally speaking. Now, if you go on a first date or a second date, or even a third date, and someone, your date calls you a derogatory name, you're not going to go out with them again. They're charming, they're attentive, they're responsive, they're funny, they give all their attention to the person they're targeting, with the eventual belief that that's going to turn around when there's a commitment. So those targeted may have really high highs, especially at first, and then it switches pretty quickly to a really low low. So most relationships that don't include abuse, you have a range of good and bad times, but you don't have the intensity of the range that abusive relationships have. Changes in behavior, changes in mood, changes in class participation, withdrawal from friends and family, or the friends kind of withdraw from the target, because oftentimes that relationship is very volatile. There will be a breakup and they get back together, and a breakup and they get back together. And this is really a time when you as a teacher can make a difference, because they need support, especially when they're being isolated, and the family and friends might be, they're just frustrated with it, so they withdraw. you can be there for them, okay? They may become very defensive of their partner, especially when the partner is present, because they don't want to get in trouble for not defending their partner. And the GAS response, I think, is kind of an appropriate acronym, but it's a response to stress. So when a stressor first hits, the adrenal glands kick in, and epinephrine, norepinephrine, cortisol are all released at these very high levels. And that is physically, blood pressure is going to go up. Your body's going to be on high. Now that can't last forever. So your body may acclimate to those hormones being released, but the hormones are still being released and having an effect, which can lead literally to exhaustion. So I'm friends with one teacher who all of a sudden her student started to just fall asleep in class every day, where before she had been participatory. And that led her to seek some time alone with her. They were able to talk about it, and sure enough, she was in an abusive relationship. So oftentimes when we think something might be wrong, we talk ourselves out of it. They're just tired, they're working a lot, it's tennis season or whatever. And that's not the case. And if you're wrong, great. But if you're right, that person, you have the opportunity to make a difference in their life. Can't say that enough. Next slide, please. This is what can you do. First of all, know the resources available at your school, in your community. What are the policies? Those differ. I think the program that was created by Cognito does a really good job of sharing how you can find that out. Request one-on-one time with the student, and don't try to take over the conversation. Let it go at its own pace. If you can be a safe and calm presence, that can make all the difference in the world. That will perhaps allow the target to begin talking and sharing, and give that person full control over what they share, full control over the choices they make. But if you know what some of the options are for them, what some of their possible responses could be, and you give them the choice, that's restoring some power that's been taken away from them. Reminding them that they may be going through a really rough time right now, but they can get through it. They can be good again. They'll become a survivor, and eventually they will become a thriver. And with support, it happens much more quickly. Let them make the choice. Don't try to pry into what happened. Don't try to get details. That's not our decision for another person to tell us something specific. They get to choose what they share. But if you listen and you show you care, again, that will make all the difference in the world. And I want to end with a challenge to you and a kind of a congratulations. So next slide, please. If someone comes to you, pat yourself on the back, because that doesn't happen frequently. It means you are sharing in one way or another that you are safe, that you are someone they can come to. You are someone who can be trusted, and you have that opportunity to make a difference. Noticing the red flags, sharing your concerns, giving them choices, and making them feel safe, that all comes around and allows them to go from victim to survivor to thriver. And this is one of my favorite quotes. With great power comes great responsibility, no pressure. Actually, it is pressure, because they're out there. There's a lot of them out there, and they're quiet. And you can, you're down in the trenches with them every day. So if you pay attention, look for the red flags, don't talk yourself out of why you're wrong, just seek some information and share their choices with them. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Julie. For 20 years, Cognito has been a leading provider of practice-based digital learning experiences, which provide strategies to improve mental health and well-being across schools, campuses, and communities. Through practice and personalized feedback, users learn and assess their competency to lead similar real-life conversations. Currently, more than 1.5 million users have completed a practice-based learning experience. Cognito is changing lives by fostering conversations around important topics, including suicide prevention, social emotional learning, violence prevention, dating violence awareness, substance use, and more. Next slide, please. Cognito simulations are built on research, neuroscience, and social cognition. We use a conversation platform and virtual practice environment to guide users in meaningful discussions related to complex and challenging social and mental health related topics. Next slide, please. At Cognito, we believe in the power of practice. Cognito customers regularly say one of the features of our programs they find the most valuable is the ability to practice. Users can try several different conversation pathways, allowing them to practice the skills they learned. Research has shown that deliberate practice in a situated environment tailored to the learner promotes engagement, retention, and transfer to our day-to-day lives. The use of virtual humans enhances the development of greater rapport through increased empathy, trust, attention, and understanding due to the environment and virtual human verbal and nonverbal communication strategies, minimizing the possibility of transferring emotions or feelings when in a real-life situation. Cognito programs are designed to meet the learner where they are. Subject matter experts inform the design and development of the didactic content and resources in our programs to ensure that learning goals and outcomes are delivered in a way that enhances learner engagement, reflection, and retention. Our comprehensive resource library incorporated with each program includes discussion and facilitator guides, communication templates, and structured lesson plans to simplify and minimize the work end users must undertake to effectively implement the program within their school. Next slide, please. Dating violence awareness for educators was driven by market feedback, including the increasing focus on state mandates addressing the prevention and response to teen dating violence. 38 states currently have or are creating legislation addressing dating violence prevention education, with 29 requiring and 9 encouraging these efforts. Developed with subject matter experts such as Julie, this program is designed to meet state mandates for training for educators, administrators, staff, coaches, and after-school personnel who work with middle school and high school students. The learning experiences consist of tutorial content covering what dating violence is, risks and warning signs, and how to approach a student you believe may be experiencing violence. Learners have the opportunity to practice 2 realistic conversations throughout this 15-minute experience. Next slide, please. The learning goals and objectives were derived through legislative research, conversations with clients, and our subject matter experts. Learners will gain awareness, knowledge, skill, and self-confidence to identify teen dating violence and have a trauma-informed disclosure conversation with the student. They will be able to identify signs of abusive relationships, including some of the more subtle signs such as manipulation, control, verbal, mental, emotional abuse, inappropriate physical and emotional boundaries. They will gain or refine understanding of abusive behaviors and dating relationships and explore and practice strategies and techniques for supportive conversations with students or coworkers relating to dating violence, utilizing the identify, approach, and refer techniques. Next slide, please. Cognito's simulation platform provides a safe environment to experience realistic conversation scenarios and practice your response. You can see here the 2 types of conversations that learners in this environment will cover. With Cognito programs, users can experiment with various approaches and communication styles without fear of repercussion on real staff or students. Research has shown that users report feeling they're in a safer environment, less judged, and have an increased willingness to honestly reveal information, which allows for easier transference of the techniques and skills when faced with real-life situations. Through this practice, users are able to build their competence and confidence by reflecting and re-engaging. Next slide, please. Now let's see the program in action.
Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time.
Of course, always happy to chat. Anyway, in your email, you said...
Yeah, it's not a big deal. I wanted to see what was going on with making groups in the class for group assignments. Like, do you have to choose them or can we choose them? Because I get maybe you want to mix things up, but yeah.
Would you be willing to share a little more info with me so we can figure out the best solution together?
Well, there's just a person who I don't like being around. It makes me really, really uncomfortable. So if there were some way to like stop that from happening, I'd really appreciate it.
Nadia, that's the conclusion of the simulation.
Thanks so much, Jen. If you want to advance to the next slide, that would be great. For 20 years, Cognito has been a trusted partner in designing and delivering critical conversation skills and techniques addressing some of the most pressing challenges in PK-12. The practice-based scenarios allow learners to engage, reflect, and re-engage, leading to stronger self-efficacy and behavior change. Learners are met exactly where they are, receiving individualized feedback in each of our programs. Our simulations are evidence-based, resulting in significant changes in knowledge, skills, attitudes, and behavior. Admin tools allow for easy usage tracking to monitor and compliance and easy implementation. Our simulations are asynchronous and take only 15 to 60 minutes, allowing the user to maximize and transfer their learning to real-life situations. Subject matter experts contribute to the design and development of each of our simulations programs. Next slide, please. Cognito offers several purchasing options, including by audience and our educator and staff professional development bundle as seen here, student curriculum, and parent and community options. Next slide, please. Additionally, users have the option to purchase by topic through our violence prevention suite, our mental health and well-being suite, building an inclusive culture, or flexibility in building their own. This approach provides critical content across the holistic school ecosystem, allowing teachers, administrators, staff, students, parents, and the community to utilize consistent language, approaches, and skills. And Jen, I'll turn it back to you to close us out.
Thank you, Nadia, and thank you, Julie, for a truly dynamic and informative presentation on a really critical topic. This concludes today's webinar session. If you are interested in a product demonstration of our latest training, Dating Violence for Educators, I do encourage you to contact us to set up a product demo. You can also visit our website if you'd like to browse more of our product offerings as well as our suites and bundles. And if you'd like to download a case study or even a piece of research, please visit our resource center. And lastly, we've also listed here a couple of resources on dating violence that is of interest to educators, loveisrespect.org as well as dosomething.org. Thanks everyone for joining us today.